Good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Centre. It's good to be back, and it's good, but it's Pride Month, which, of course, used to be about celebrating gay rights, and quite right too, but it's now mostly about advertising campaigns by brands celebrating their own righteousness. Big businesses love to signal their virtue in English-speaking countries where gay rights have been hard-fought and hard-earned, but not so much in the Middle East, where it's often illegal and punishable by death. And with everything from burgers to banks and beers now bedecked in the rainbow flag, companies have to work a little bit harder to prove just how virtuous they are. Glamour magazine has chosen to make Logan Brown its Pride Month cover star. "I'm a pregnant trans man and I do exist," he said. "No matter what anyone says, I'm living proof." Well, living proof of what? Logan is living proof that biological women can get pregnant, as hundreds of biological women do every single year. That's it. That's all this proves. This is precisely where this movement loses everyone with a shred of common sense. It's not about trans people. It really isn't. Most people watching this have probably never even met a trans person. Most people, including me, who have, just want equal rights and respect for anybody who suffers from gender dysphoria, who genuinely believes they're born into the wrong body. This is about the increasingly hysterical campaign to make us all believe the sky is green and the grass is blue, and that anyone who disagrees is a hateful transphobe and a bigot. It's a campaign that petrifies politicians, leads us to the remarkable position that the two opposition leaders in British politics now make statements like this.
A woman can have a penis.
Nick, I'm not... I don't think we can conduct this debate with, you know...
Sorry, have I offended you in some way?
No, it's just... I just...
Can a woman have a penis?
Well, I've just answered that question.
They can.
Listen, I've made it really clear that if people, the vast majority of people will have the same gender as their biological sex, but a small number won't.
So a woman can have a penis?
Well, quite clearly.
Quite clearly, a woman can have a penis. I mean, that happened before I went away, and I spent the whole week I was in France mulling over that answer and concluded it was a completely stupid thing to say, wasn't it? Can you imagine if I'd said 10 years ago that British politics would pivot on the question of whether women have penises, or that the most terrifying question in the world would be, what is a woman? The documentary of that name, What is a Woman?, calmly eviscerates this absurdity by allowing the people who advance the looniest arguments to tie themselves in their own knots.
Please, if one person could tell me what a woman is.
You are not here for women! We ask you to leave!
What is that? A woman is not anything in particular.
There is not one particular thing.
It could be many things to many people.
Some women have penises, right? Some men have vaginas.
Women only know what women are.
Are you a cat?
No.
Can you tell me what a cat is? Do you want to tell us what a woman is?
I'm a biological woman that medically transitioned to appear like a male. I will never be a man.
The interview's over. Let's turn off the cameras.
Excuse me.
For their fair question, I just wanted to know, what is a woman?
And you're not going to find out.
Well, that documentary was posted to Twitter at the end of last week, so it could be seen far and wide for free to mark its anniversary. But in a sign of these fevered times, it was censored for the crime of misgendering. Misgendering. Well, Twitter's new owner, Elon Musk, personally intervened and then recommended the film to his gazillions of followers. And in a second sign of our times, the tweet promoting the film has now been viewed 172 million times. So the biggest film in the world right now isn't Little Mermaid, Spider-Man, or that is Fast and Furious. It's What is a Woman by Matt Walsh, which I think shows the level of sheer exasperation there is of this relentless campaign to subvert reality and bully anybody who refuses to go along with it. For the avoidance of doubt, a woman is an adult human female. That's it. Beginning and end. The percentage of women with penises is 0. Well, the Daily Wire's Matt Walsh, the filmmaker of the year right now, joins me. Matt, well, congratulations on having the biggest movie in the world.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It's been a staggering week for you. I mean, it was a great film when I watched it originally, because it just basically kept asking the same question I've been asking on the show for the last year. But it's a question which flummoxes everyone from Supreme Court justices to male politicians here to anyone you care to think of in public life. When you put it on Twitter and then it got suppressed and then Elon Musk intervened, what was your feeling about that whole process?
Well, when they first decided to censor it, it was kind of this feeling of, oh, well, here we go again, because this is what we're used to from big tech. It's every single big tech platform is run by the radical far left, and especially on this particular issue, they don't want you to talk about it. They don't want it acknowledged. There are basic truths that aren't allowed to be discussed. We were just demonetized by YouTube on misgendering grounds, just a couple of weeks ago. We thought that Twitter would be different under Elon Musk, and then they kind of pulled the rug out from under us. And at first, for me, it was sort of this, okay, well, I guess Twitter is the same as all the rest of them, until Elon Musk, as you say, intervened. And next thing you know, where there are resignations and all these sorts of things happening over at Twitter in their brand safety department, which makes it clear that no, in fact, Twitter is the one exception. It's the one major big tech platform where free speech is allowed. So I was happy that, of course, how it worked out, but also that this film, on top of dealing with the gender issue, also could succeed in really a victory for free speech. I think it's a really important victory for free speech, because if it had gone the other way and Twitter had decided to keep this film censored, then that would set a really dangerous precedent, I think, for all the other platforms.
Yeah, no question. Elon Musk said this in reply to someone who tweeted him. This was a mistake by many people at Twitter, talking about the suppression of your film. It's definitely allowed. Whether or not you agree with using someone's preferred pronouns, not doing so is at most rude and certainly breaks no laws. I should know that I do personally use someone's preferred pronouns, just as I use someone's preferred name, simply from a standpoint of good manners. However, for the same reason I object to rude behaviour, ostracism or threats of violence if the wrong pronoun or name is used, which I think is a pretty reasonable position. I mean, is that a position you would share?
No, I don't personally share that position. I'm not going to use preferred pronouns. I'm going to use the pronouns that are accurate. I just reject the concept of preferred pronouns. You can prefer whatever pronoun you want or whatever adverb or noun you want, but that doesn't mean that I have to use it. You don't get to put words in my mouth. However, the position that Elon Musk has on this is it's a position a lot of people have, and at the very least, it respects free speech. So this is what he's going to do, but you can say what you want, because you can't force someone else to share your perceptions. That's what the preferred pronoun thing is all about.
Yeah.
They're trying to not only put words in your mouth, they want you to affirm their perception of reality. And the idea that we would be forced to do that, either legally or even according to the terms of service of a big tech platform, is just it's just insane.
Well, it is, and of course the argument they use is, well, it's offensive. But of course the whole point of free speech, really at its heart, is that you should be allowed to offend people. I mean, that's the point of free speech. It's not that everyone agrees with each other. It's that you should be able to vehemently disagree or be offensive or rude if you want, and people should be able to tolerate that, because that's what happens in a free society with a thriving democracy that believes in free speech.
Yeah, and that is the importance of free speech. And like I said, a lot of this story is about a victory for free speech, which is really important. But I also want to note that what's happening here is on an even deeper level, because on the left, what they're trying to shut down, it isn't just speech generally, and they are trying to shut down speech, but they're trying to shut down true speech. So it's not just speech, it's in particular basic fundamental truths of life that they're trying to stop us from saying, and that makes it all the more dangerous and egregious. I
mean, your issue with YouTube was they demonetized you effectively by saying that you had misgendered Dylan Mulvaney, who's this transgender influencer that, of course, has created Bud Light's revenue by taking part in a PR stunt for them, which enraged the core customers at Bud Light. What did that whole thing tell you? I mean, A, what happened to you guys in terms of the way YouTube responded, but also about what happened to Bud Light?
Yeah, I think it shows that people are, as far as Bud Light goes, people are exhausted by this. The left, they were able to run roughshod over the culture in Western culture generally for years. And I guess they assumed that there would never be any pushback, and they kept going until normal people just finally had enough of it. I wish we had enough of it much sooner, but at least now finally that's a line is being drawn. And I think one of those lines is when you're trying to get people again trying to force them to affirm and celebrate something that's just not true. At a certain point, I think it's too far for the average person. That's what we're seeing now. This is not, despite what the left says, this pushback against LGBT pride and against the transing of kids. This is not some sinister right-wing, well-funded conspiracy. This is really a groundswell thing. This is grassroots. These are just normal people who've had enough of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And in Dylan Mulvaney's case, I mean, Dylan Mulvaney identified as a gay man until last year. And a lot of women have been genuinely outraged that Dylan Mulvaney has been putting out these videos effectively mocking women, actually, if you look at them. And that's been my problem with what Dylan Mulvaney's done. So Dylan Mulvaney can call herself whatever she wants. I don't care. What she can't do, I don't think, is make millions of dollars mocking the concept of womanhood when, until last year, she identified as a gay man and is clearly a biological male.
And it's also the irony that we hear so much about the dangers of appropriation these days, even when it comes to things like Halloween costumes, where someone is clearly just having fun and they put on a Native American Halloween costume, whatever it may be. We're told that that's horrifically racist and it's demonizing and it's a caricature of the person you're wearing the costume of. Well, that's exactly what Dylan Mulvaney is doing. He's making a caricature of womanhood.
This cover of Glamour magazine involving Logan Brown, who is a trans man, appearing to be a pregnant man on the cover. But of course, Logan Brown is a biological female. So it's actually a pregnant female that we're looking at on the cover. When a magazine, a mass market, mass-selling women's magazine like Glamour does that to celebrate Pride Month, what does that say about where we've come to as a society?
Well, I tell you one thing it actually says is it makes the opposite of the point they're trying to make, because the point it actually makes is that women are still women no matter how they identify. I mean, I read that article and they're making a big deal about, Logan Brown was saying, well, yes, I exist. I'm pregnant. This is real. I know it's blowing people's minds. Well, no, it doesn't blow anyone's mind. We know that you're a woman. Even if you cut your hair short and you give yourself a different name, you're still a woman. You still have the biological function and capacity of a woman. So that's actually what it proves, is that this biological identity is inherent. It's immutable. You can't get rid of it. You just are who you are, no matter how you identify. No, that's not the point that we're trying to make. But to me, that's what it proves. That even a quote unquote trans man can still get pregnant proves that she's a woman.
We've seen, as I said, Bud Light, we've seen the revenue collapsing after the Dylan Mulvaney thing. We've seen Target, a big supermarket chain in America, suffering similar problems after really going very hard on Pride merchandise in the children's departments. We've seen your film try to be cancelled and then bouncing back within days to become the most watched film in the world. I'm getting a gut feeling, Matt, that the woke worm is turning, that common sense is beginning to win the day. And it's because the majority of people who've been silent and been cowed into silence are beginning to find their collective voices and acting.
I think that's exactly what happened. And that's something that even when we were filming What is a Woman, which goes back, we were filming it in 2021, a large part of 2021. And, I can remember going around the streets in various different cities and doing these man on the street interviews with people, talking about these issues with them. What is a woman? How do you define womanhood? And people were, just the average person on the street was terrified to even discuss the issue, especially on camera. I think that if we were to do that part of the film again right now, I think we would get a different kind of response. I think there'd be a lot more people willing to talk about this, because I agree, people are finding their voice. Everyone has always known that this is crazy, the idea that sex can be changed and all of that. People know that it's crazy, but they've been cowed into silence. And all it took was just to realize that, it's okay. You can speak up and say what you know is true. And once that starts happening, I think it builds momentum. And I think the left is really worried about that.
Sometimes if you want to know it's raining, just open the window and have a look when it's raining, and you'll see rain. And the moment you start to deny that is where the trouble starts. Matt Walsh, congratulations on having this monster film. You're bigger than Spielberg right now. I take my hat off to you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.